Hello, everybody. Welcome in today. An exciting interview we have coming up with Dr. Maya Williams. She contacted me. She has a YouTube channel called Fly Like Me PhD. Go check her out. And she contacted me because she said, Tia Niki, I got some things I want to share with your community. I want to let them know that they can do it. I've been many places, I've seen many faces, and I've done many things. And I want to share with your audience, living abroad, moving abroad, traveling abroad. That's what we talk about here. So Dr. M is going to share with us her journey, the places she's gone and the things she's seen. And this will give you inspiration to get up off of that couch, make your plans, and start to travel and see the world today. Welcome, Dr. Maya Williams. First of all, everybody welcome in as promised. We are here with Maya, Dr. Maya, who, Williams, correct, is the last name, who is an avid traveler, experience indulger, for a better lack of term words, and has so much to share with us about her experience in Guadalajara, Mexico, and scouting cities like Mexico City, giving us some insight on suggestions and places we can go to connect with like mind, like journey people, right? That's what we try to find in a world convoluted with independence and separation. So coming together can be quite the challenge. And that is what Fly Like Me PhD, her YouTube channel, talks about. And today we have the grace of talking to her about her journey. Maya, welcome in. Welcome to Travel Abroad with Tia Niki. We're so glad to have you. Thank you for the opportunity for this interview. I have talked enough. I'm going to turn it over to you. Introduce yourself to the folks. Talk about where you come from, so we'll have a broader perspective of your journey. Take your time. Time is our friend today.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So I am born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, and I started my travel journey actually when I was only 16 years old. I went through a program called American Field Study and ended up in Argentina. And from there, I was really curious about language and wanted to learn more about speaking Spanish. And so I dedicated my life to learning the language and majored in Spanish at the University of Michigan for undergrad. And I have continued to travel to 45 countries. I've lived in 6 countries, and I have taken the cultural immersion piece of living in Latin American countries or Spanish-speaking countries in order to enhance my Spanish. So I've lived in the Dominican Republic, I've lived in Colombia, I've lived in Spain, I've lived in Costa Rica, and I've lived in Argentina.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm glad you stopped there. Now, I have a question about that. I think that's it can be a huge barrier with people who are seeking to move abroad, visit. I've had a couple of clients who love Merida, but they just could not get past the language barrier and that reliance on the translator and things like that. So twofold question. How were you able to kind of take on the responsibility of learning the language? And how long did it take you to, I don't know, I'm sure you're proficient by now. How long did that take? And some tips that people can use when they're trying to learn this new language. Because unfortunately, the United States, they just voted that that's the only language you're going to speak here. You ain't going to speak nothing else, so that limits not only your accessibility to other language, but it limits the mind's ability to expand because knowing language breaks a lot of mental barriers, I think.
Yeah, so it took a long time. I'm just going to be honest with you. Learning a language is a huge commitment. It's like a second job, because there's so much to learn there. You can go so deep with it, but I feel like it mainly depends on what level you want. If you're comfortable with just being like a beginner, it doesn't take that long. I think the biggest thing is like consistency, just making sure that you stay up with it so that you won't forget things after you learn them. In terms of what you mentioned about tips, my biggest tip is immersion if you can. I know that's not offered to all of us, but the immersion, you have a person that could not know a language at all, live in the country for 1 year, and come out like really good with that language, at least a like intermediate understanding sometimes, because the immersion forces you to do that. But if not that, then obviously there are a lot of apps that people have used, such as like Duolingo as an app to learn different languages, having Spanish conversation partners. You can actually have someone that is fluent in the language and you're fluent in another language, and you can swap almost like a barter. So I speak to you in English for 30 minutes, you speak to me in French for 30 minutes, and then there's no payment that needs to go between the two of you because you're both equally providing something. When you go abroad and you meet people, you can always keep in contact with them via WhatsApp, have conversations in the language in order to help yourself too. And then here is a plug for something that I'm going to do is I actually am going to teach a Spanish class this year. Yes. So when that comes out, you're welcome to sign up, and maybe I will, yeah, connect with you when that happens. So if there are people in your community that, people that are following or watching that are interested in that Spanish class, it would just be Black people. That is my focus. We will primarily be speaking Spanish together. So if people are interested in that, that will be coming out this year, because I do see it as a thing that can be a barrier to help people, a barrier to going abroad, and it doesn't need to be.
This is true. This is very true. I find that a lot with the work that I do, that is a major barrier. And I feel like you, it's only a barrier if we allow it to be. And then you said something that's key, which is immersion, being immersed in the culture. I have learned Spanish by default, by just having an active hearing and listening over the years. It was kind of effortless. I learned the words because I heard them time and time again. You know what I'm saying? So I really like what you said about Latin countries and being amongst folks of the same complexion and direction, so to speak. Talk to us about some of the places that you have visited in Latin America and the differences. For example, Belize is Latin, but they speak a lot of English, and they have a Creole, you know, intermingling of nations. So Belize is something else. So in your travels, where is the most exciting, the most surprising, you know?
Yeah, I like this question a lot. Thank you for this. Fun fact is, I have traveled to all of the countries in Central America, so I could give you a full rundown of that entire space. I can. So, I would say Guatemala is going to like really have an indigenous feel to it. You can really see a lot of the indigenous people. They have beautiful areas such as like Antigua, they have mountains, and the people are very kind, just like very open, very communicative. I just felt it was very warm. When you talked about Belize, for example, due to colonization of the English, that is how Belize end up being like the only English speaking place within Central America. So
Exactly. It
very
blew my mind. Yeah.
yeah, it's very confusing how that end up happening. But when we talk about colonization, places have switched over various times in terms of hands of who colonized the space at different points in times. And Belize was one place that got kind of wrapped up in that. And so when I was in Belize, definitely you're right, there is English that is spoken there. I also noticed that in Belize, we didn't necessarily have an experience of like top-notch food when it came to that. Like they didn't really have like this culinary, like this is our
Right.
thing, like what we focus on. It wasn't really that big of a focus for them. They did have a Spanish speaking population that was like off in one of the islands on Belize, like not on the main inland. But yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed. It felt a lot different than the rest of the Central American countries. Then going
Mhm.
down, you have places like El Salvador and Honduras, and both of those have unfortunately got kind of a bad rap for being violent or having like
Yeah.
issues to them. Just really sad. They're both connected to one another. I didn't have issues when I was there. I had a really good experience and I was able to learn a lot. I think if you go to El Salvador, there's a lot of history there of like what has happened with Central America. They have
Mhm.
museums that like really talk about the way that the land had been split up to be countries that we recognize today. When I was in Honduras, I was in a small town. I was in Comayagua, which is not really the hot spot that people go to, but I was able to learn and see a lot within that area in a small town and see a lot of the history that was there as well. A lot of rich history is there. When I was in Costa Rica, I lived there for an entire 4 months. And so I noticed like definitely like rainforests and jungles, very
Mhm.
beautiful place, you know, in general, water, vegetation, if that's what you're looking for, it definitely has all of that. Also, a lot of tourists from the US and other countries live in Costa Rica too. That is like a hot spot
It
for tourists.
is.
And then in terms of Nicaragua, which is like bordering Costa Rica, you will get a lot of Nicaraguan immigrants moving into Costa Rica to have more opportunities. That place has typically been very marginalized and not like really supported in many ways, but went there, very good culture, very nice people, very kind. Just again, like may have had to deal with some issues territorial that has like left it in that space. And then we have Panama. Panama is another
Mhm.
is a hot spot for tourism, and we talk about retirees specifically in Panama. Like they have made it.
It's the Florida of Latin countries. It's the Florida.
Boom, you got it. It is the Florida
Okay.
America. They've made it very easy for people to retire in Panama. I think maybe the Panamanian people feel some type of way about that. There is a problematic history involving the Panama Canal and the U.S. in particular.
Going
So
on right now as we speak. Yep.
I don't think that they really want people from the U.S. there, but they keep going there. So yeah.
Have you found that there's a difference in the acceptance of Black people opposed to Europeans in these countries?
Okay, yeah. So what I notice is sometimes we get kind of put into a box with Europeans, and I often will have to tell people this is not the same thing because they see Americans then as Black Americans. But I feel like places that have larger populations of Black people tend to be more warm towards us. So that would be places like Brazil, places like Colombia, places like Panama, where they're the Caribbean, where there are more Black people. You could be confused as a local before they would assume that you were somewhere from somewhere else.
Right, right, right. That's interesting. Now, you mentioned to me in your correspondence about your experience in Guadalajara. What happened in Guadalajara?
Yeah, so Guadalajara, I went for a wedding. And the difference I noticed between like Guadalajara and Mexico City was that I felt people were more open to speaking in Spanish there, where I think for Mexico City, again, that gentrification and specifically American white people have kind of taken over places of Mexico City that understandably they are not happy about. But Guadalajara, they felt like open and not having issue with me being there or other Americans being there, open to us
Mhm.
being in space. And it might be because not as many Americans are gravitating to Guadalajara and
Mhm.
changing the culture of the space as they are to a Mexico City.
Right, right. And Mexico City basically is like a mini US, right? It's like a mini. I mean, if it's not that, it's at the door of that. Especially with prices of everything, from rent to just everyday living, um, in Mexico City.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There were specific neighborhoods I went into Mexico City and it looked like
Mhm.
we were in the US. I was like, whoa, wow, like we
Really?
heard. And it kind of felt like that. Yeah. I think it was called Roma Norte, is specifically where I think a lot of white people live within Mexico. That kind of felt more like the US to me. And I was just curious in your experience how you ended up in Merida.
Oh, Merida found me. I didn't really find Merida. I was on my way to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I wanted to leave Maryland. And I was looking in the area. I was priced out of that area, for what I wanted to do. I was looking to own and buy and or own, and HO fees I'm still paying monthly. It just didn't make any sense. So I started working my way across the map, and I skipped the Midwest because it's too cold, and then California is too expensive. And by deductive reasoning, I went through every one. Phoenix, I was like, it's too hot in Phoenix and expensive. And I came to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I started doing research on it. I looked at everything about it. A lot of people do tours of the city. So I went down. It's a very small town, but I love the mountains and I love the hot air balloon, annual hot air balloon. And then it would keep me in the States, but right at the edge. And I was looking at YouTube, and all of a sudden, a Merida came. I was like, "What is a Merida? What is that? What's that?" And the rest is history, right? I went down the rabbit hole and listened to Wandering Soup. They're no longer around. Cafe Con Leche for my old heads. They broke up. They're not around. Only Cortez, who I linked up with and had a consultation. And he was like, you got to come see for yourself. And so I went in June. And before I even landed, I knew as I went over the Gulf of Mexico, my teeth unclenched and my shoulders dropped, and they began to speak a language I didn't know, which made me excited, right?
Yeah.
And like it was just a whole different air. And I wasn't a ninja. You feel me? I was American, but I wasn't a ninja or any derivative thereof. I wasn't even what they call me in the rap music all the time, right? The kids, yeah. And that was the beginning of getting the hell up out of that USB. It's a wrap. I landed. I was like, it just confirmed what I already knew. I got off the plane, Cortez, I waited on him. He came through. I was excited he was there. The first night I came here, I got to the hotel. It must have been about 6 or 7 in the evening, July the 9th, 2022. And he was like, "Do you want to rest or you want to go see?" And I was like, "I want to go see." Went downtown to Merida, and I was like, "This is not what they said on the. This is this is not." Somebody lied, and that's where I was like on repeat with just the lies. I'm
Yeah.
listening to good music, American music. It's cool. It's lights. It's fun. It's everything that life should be. It was everything, and it still is almost 3 years later. It is everything that life should be. And then when Claudia Scheinbaum did the Declaration of Afro-Indigenous people and said y'all was here before we were, to be acknowledged at that depth of acceptance, recognition, and foundation.
Yeah.
It makes me very proud to live here, and I'm glad I made the decision. I encourage other people to make the decision. That's why we do interviews like this on the channel, so that people can see reality. Because right now, I think most, and particularly Black women, who I'm an advocate for, um, are very jaded and brain fogged when it comes to the reality of living outside of the USBS, right? So my experience has not only broadened my perspective, but it's also left me unlimited to the possibilities. And that's why I like your story, Dr. Maya, because you've
Facts.
been to these places that we aspire to. And the generations are changing. I'm X. I'm sure you're probably, well, you're not X, are you like millennial? You're a
I am a
millennial.
millennial.
I love
100%.
millennials. I love zennials, and I really love Z, because they will tell you exactly. I'm talking about, they ain't got no cut cards. It is for real. So I like the freedom of expression, the kick fear in the ass. Not even, it don't even exist, it seems like, in y'all generations. You just go for what you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, I see so many of the younger generation traveling to these different countries on TikTok. I love TikTok. And because it's such a open, it's global, and that's the only place where you get to see reality.
Right.
So yeah, so this is another portal for that. Um, I want to come back to you in the same vein as to what encouraged you to go beyond the borders. Talk to us a little bit about your experiences in Mexico overall, and then how you connected to get to those places, like how I did with Cortez, and how he inspired me to create my own channel to help people. You know what I'm saying? He's a direct inspiration for that. And from the very first day, I made the very first video in his house. So yeah, and that's what it's about. So in a culture of disconnect and separation, talk to me about how you brought it all together, how you got the courage, if you had to find it, if it was there, your experiences in Mexico, and address how country scouting, going to these different countries,
Yeah.
can broaden not only your perspective but opportunities for growth.
Yeah. So I want to say it was always there.
I already knew that.
Yeah,
I'm born with it.
right. Like from a young age, I was like, this is not the move. I just what you want from me. It was already there. But the funny thing is now a lot of Black people are starting to get on board. I'm like, I have been saying this since I was 16, and it took the changes in government, losing of rights for people to get on board. But I was like, I had already, it's fine. Everybody gets their
I
own time.
understand. I do. I've been telling people since I left to leave. Yeah, I get it. I completely. And the seed. Because
Yeah,
all when I was younger, my mother and I used to always talk about moving, but Canada was the only place
option.
that seemed, and we're like, well, nobody going to no Canada. It's too cold. I'm not going. But we
Yep.
never ever considered going south, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I also want to say congratulations to you. I feel that it is amazing when we can find a place that is comfortable and safe for us. I think that there is a place for everyone in the world. Maybe it doesn't have to be the same place, but there is some place out there for all of us if we are willing to just find it and take a little time. So when you talk about like connecting with people, that is the biggest thing. Technology is at your fingertips. We have Facebook, as you mentioned, TikTok, we got LinkedIn, we have emails, we have YouTube. Like, there is no excuse now not to know about other countries. Like for you and your mom, probably only was talk about Canada, but now people will walk you through. You're walking people through apartments that they might never get the chance to look at. People will walk you through experiences. There is no reason now not to know what all is out here. And also, what I love is these Facebook groups. So if you are interested in any country, you can look at expat groups in that country, right? Black expats in Costa Rica, right? And there are so many groups, Black expats in Panama, like, and you can get all of the information. They're talking about housing, they're talking about weather. You can be in the chats and also just find out what it's like to live there before you even have to make the move or before even traveling to do so. And then for me, I'm just the type of person that is willing to do a country scouting. So country scouting means going to the country and kind of like dating. You're like trying out the country to see if you want to actually live there. So you can do this for like a week all the way up to a month. You go to various neighborhoods. You go to these neighborhoods at different times of the day. You talk to different people in the community. You look at the prices for housing and you figure out if you could see yourself living there. So I have done country scouting for Belize, for Mexico, for Colombia, and for Curacao in the Caribbean to see if I was interested in living in any of these places. And I could let you know for sure, just by being in a place for just a week, I could tell like this is a vibe or this thing is missing. And then you can ask the locals in real time about the things that you're looking for, particular, like if healthcare is important to you, if your neighborhood is important, you can walk around those neighborhoods. If food is important to you, you can do all these things in real time. You have your list of the things that you in particular are looking for, and you start checking them off based on like what it has or what it doesn't have, and then you can make your decision for the best place for you.
Love it. I love it. Dating a country. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love dating a country to see if that's the one for you. I like that, y'all. Date a country for a week or so and see if that's the place for you. Now, I want to talk about something else, but right quick, I'm going to definitely come back to this. I wrote this down. And then you talked about also the groups. They have brothers and sisters of Australia, brothers and sisters of Vietnam, brothers and sisters of Austria, brothers and sisters of Thailand, brothers. They got so many brothers and sisters group. It is amazing. I'm like, this is crazy. Um, so, in particularly black women who of all ages, and this is the thing that I love about the younger generation. Y'all are getting out and y'all are doing it and encouraging the older generation to get on board. Like you said, now they want to see, now they want to come out, right? So, and a plethora of videos on how to find housing, how to find communities, to get familiar with wherever you're going. And it does not have to be Mexico. There are a lot of places you can go. Many people here have gone on to Thailand and, like you mentioned, Costa Rica and places like this. Now, one of the biggest the older our boomers and people, they getting checks every month. So I never understand why they are still there at all. I don't understand. I don't understand that. Mm-mm. Give me a check. Okay, I'm out. So we're going to omit y'all from this conversation. I'm sorry. However, the still working people, which are the Gen X, we still got about 10 years or more to go. Definitely millennials, zennials, and Gen X, I'm sorry, Gen Z is changing the way business is even done. Okay. Straight facts. It's crazy. They're changing the whole landscape. So taking all of that into consideration, money is always a topic of discussion. And so with you being part of that demographic, how can you suggest that someone with a lateral, well, you're doctor. So the average person who's working, digital nomad or trying to scrape up the money, what are some tips you can give them, or even deeper than that, strategies to procreate an income, to maintain an income, maybe to save money, to what did you do to do it? A roadmap or a pathway maybe people could use.
Yeah, so first I want to tell you that I will send you the worksheet for country dating. I have about like 10 deal breakers, yeah, that I made about country dating or country scouting. So I'll send that to you. If any of your followers are interested, you can send that along.
It'll be posted in a link. Everything. We're gonna go through
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, so I will send that to you just so that can be a
Mm.
guide for you all moving forward. Okay, money, so complicated. All of our situations are so different. So, number
Mm.
one, I am planning to move abroad in 2026. So, right now, I am constantly saving, saving, saving. So, if you're in the US, you have a future plan to go abroad, save as much money as you can right now, because maybe once you leave, you might not have the access to the income in the way that you could specifically in the US. And what I mean by that is like maybe your situation has to change. Maybe you can no longer work that job you were working. Maybe you're trying to get a remote job. Maybe you're trying to get a job in the space that you're moving to, and the money is just not going to hit the same as it does in the US specifically. Because this country is so costly, you can often find jobs. I'm not saying you can get them, but there are jobs available that are like paying people way more than places across, across the globe, because they're like, we're not charging that much to live here. So like, why are we giving people six figures? So that is just, and to
Right, exactly.
compare that like the South in the US, southern states typically don't pay as much as the North, right? Because again, they're like, our housing girl is not that much. So like we don't need to like pay, really high salaries. But like northern states such as like a Boston, a Michigan,
Exactly.
Washington,
New York.
New
Exactly.
York, thank you. They're gonna pay way more than like
Way.
Louisiana, Mississippi. I know you know what I'm talking about. Alabama. You looking at me like
You're right.
I know you know. So that's number one. Like if you are getting a good salary, you got that good income, save it, save it, save it, save it, just in case you won't have access to that. Number two could be a remote job. There are trillions of remote jobs out here. Again, is it easy to get them jobs? No. Are the jobs available? Yes. So it's like you could potentially get one of them, and that could potentially be something that is funding you abroad. That being said, some of these jobs do not allow you to leave the US and work remotely. However, we've like come up with this whole plan of like convincing your job to allow you to be abroad. And one of the tactics that we have come up with is first, you just let the job know, like, hey, is there a possibility that I can try to work remotely for this job for a month, and we see how that goes? Like currently you work in person, you just try for a month, you see how that goes. When you do that month, if they approve that, you better be the best employee that they ever hired, right? You can't make no mistakes. You got to be in that chair. You got to do everything that they said that you could, because this could be a potential to show them, like, after this trial error, we just did a month. Now let me work remotely all of the time, something like that. Same for going abroad. Let's just try it for a month. Let's not say I'm just going to be gone forever, but just see how it works, because depending on what the job is, some of these jobs don't really require us to be in person, but because of how jobs formerly were, where we were so used to like brick and mortar and just traditional ways of things,
Exactly.
they always want you to be in person. But look at the pandemic, where it like caused us to have to do so many things remotely. This proves to us that we can do things remotely. So that could also be an
Absolutely.
option. If not, another thing is trying to find a job in the space. I think that that probably is the most difficult way of going about it. Really complicated, right? Because like visa things, getting a work visa, all of that. If you want to take that route, I would say do two things. Number one, you can either find someone that is an expat in the space. We already told you all where to go to find these expat communities and see where they're working. See if you can apply for something in that thing that already accepts expats and is already giving out work visas. Do that same thing. And people are constantly, right, this is definition of expat, people are constantly moving in and out transient. You could just take somebody else's spot that moved out of another position. Or number two, you can go there and not have a job in the space and then network with people in the space to see if you can get a job in the future. So maybe your first year of your visa, you're a volunteer. And then maybe the second year, you can go and get that work visa after you find a job. When you're in the space, you've convinced the person that you can work that job, and then they allow you to have the work visa. Another thing is that some people just go off their savings. They go and just live abroad for like 3 months, 6 months. You know, most countries will allow you to be in them without an intense visa, just like a tourist visa, for like 3 months to 6 months. And so you could just live off your savings by doing that. Other options are people have a partner and that person is working and the other person is not working. It tends to be, if you're going to live in Latin America, the amount of money that you made in the US will stretch a little bit further. So you can go off those savings, even though I know that's not always what people want to do. And the final recommendation is become a what? Entrepreneur. So sell them skills. If you got a skill, you can teach something, you can
That's
show
my
people how to do
way. Yep.
something. You can, are good, you're an orator, you're good at singing, I don't know, just sell your skills online. What can you teach people, show people, help people to do online? You have your own business, because when you talked about digital nomad visa, if you have a remote job, including a job that you are the entrepreneur of, that can be a way to get you abroad. So if you just have something you can sell, try doing that, like I talked about with the Spanish classes, as a thing that I could offer to people. So those are my recommendations in terms of money.
That's great. That's great. I'm an avid fan of the last one too, because you can do that right now.
Could do
You
that
don't
right
have to
now.
wait on no phone calls. You ain't got to submit no application, do your resume or none of that. You can just start doing what you know you do well. I compare it to fried chicken that I don't eat no more, but we always love fried chicken. Because when you got a taste for Popeyes, KFC, churches, all of that's chicken, but they all taste different. It's
Mm.
all fried chicken. But Popeyes is Popeyes, and churches is churches, and all these places they use they 12 spices and all of this stuff. So there's always room for any talents, skills, or gifts that a person may have. You know? Uh-oh. Are we frozen? I think she froze up. What happened in my Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, she gonna come back.
Hey, hey.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's raining outside, and so I lost my
Oh,
connection.
yeah, it happens. Believe me, I know about it. I thought it was me.
No,
It
it's
be
me.
like that sometimes. Okay, that's okay. We still recording. We still moving. I got to figure out how I did what I did last time.
Okay. No worries.
I got to
No
pin this
worries.
pin. Wait, pin. Oh, everyone. It's cool because we finished the thought at least.
Yeah,
Okay, everyone. And all right, we back. Okay.
perfect.
So I want to ask you about this. What do you think about traveling partnership? Now that don't mean a boyfriend. It actually means the exact opposite. Having just I mean, it could be if he's cool. A traveling companion. That way it's more, it's, what's the pros and cons, right? Of that type of part. First of all, do you advocate, condemn, or condone it, or neither, either? Um, because I think about that a lot. Like a lot of people who come to me and don't have a lot of money but have some. I'm thinking you guys are all on this call together, or all on this live together. Surely you could have some conversations, see if your goals could be the same and make it happen together. However, I know that's easier said than done, especially in the Black community where we are taught separation and individualism. So I just want your opinion on that. And on another level, have you ever seen it in your travels?
Hmm.
Because you've been a lot of places. I'm sure you met a lot of people. You talked to a lot of people. Has that been something that you encountered, or has it mostly been just solo travelers?
Yeah, so I would say in general, what I've run into is normally people have a companion, specifically Black people having a companion. I normally haven't seen a lot of solo travelers until like rather recently. And I would say that it depends on who the person is. So I'll give you three different types of people that you should be wary of, or you should, recognize when you're traveling. Maybe not all of them be wary of. There's three types of people.
I love
The
it.
first,
Okay.
I know I'm all about like categorizing, put things in boxes. I'm trying to make life simple for all of us, right? The first type of person is the person I would recommend you not travel with if you are trying to seek a travel companion. It could be somebody that you're with, could be a friend, could be a family member. So this person is going to like compare everything to the US. It's like American exceptionalism. Nothing is good enough. Nothing tastes good enough. The place ain't good enough. The US is better in this way. The US is better in that way. You just like, dang, why didn't you just stay in the US? That's what you be thinking. But maybe you can't say that. This is specifically going to normally be, and I'm not trying to like stereotype, I'll flesh it out, but this is normally going to be
Thanks.
older people. What were you going to say?
I said these are facts. These are just facts. These are just facts. That's all. Older
So
people. Yeah.
it's going to be older people, which makes sense because, right, they probably are used to the amenities of the US, changing how they feel about things. Old dog, new trick might just be too much for them, and that's okay. They can stay in the US where they want to be anyway. So if you find that type of person, stay away. Nothing good will come from that. Then you have your people on the opposite end who are the perfect people to travel with. They're out here trying to learn the language. They're out here trying everything that is given. They are out here being super immersive, having conversations, enjoying the experience, getting souvenirs, really appreciating the space. You could take them anywhere and they just happy to be there with what? You. That's the person you want to travel with. Y'all gonna have a great time no matter what you do, no matter if it's just people watching, no matter if it's going snorkeling. Y'all gonna have a great time because this person's just appreciative of everything. That's your ideal companion. Then there are people that are in the middle that you have to use your own discretion to decide whether they are a good travel companion or not. These people are kind of going to be like, I would have preferred this thing in the US. The US did these three things better, but this place does this better. I enjoy,
Mhm.
they can see like pros and cons of both things. They don't think either place is perfect. They don't think either place is ideal. It's just like every place in the world has its issues, and I can recognize that about all places, not particularly just this place. I can also recognize that about the US as well. So I am even with the complaints. For me, I'm like, this person is okay to travel with because they're going to let you know what some of the limitations of the space are. If you have blinders on and you're just like, I just want to get out of here, forget it, they're going to pull you back. They're going to be your anchor and be like, yeah, girl, that's true. But don't forget that these people were still racist, right? It's not the same as the US racism where they're ready to take a gun and end somebody's life,
Right.
but it still was a stare, and that wasn't cool. So I just think that you really got to think about it in terms of which type of person you want to travel with. And you already have the answer about who that person is based on your relationship in the US. If you know that you always argue with people in the US, like I told you, my family, stay being like, why you go abroad? Then they are not the ones that I'm like, let's take a whole month trip together. Absolutely not. Or if you already know you got friends that are like super appreciative of things, very kind people, would never hurt a fly, that might be a person to take with you. So you actually don't got to travel with them to figure out how they are because you already know the answer.
That's so true. That is so true. Before you even ask, you already know. You know. You already know. And I would say lean into that. I have seen incidents where, like you said, the older people get with the young people, and it ends up being a caretaking situation.
Mm,
I didn't seen it. I've seen it. My heart went out to the young lady. She didn't get to see or do anything because it was, can you do this? Can you can me that? Can you go get, so I would say definitely if you're going to partner, make it wise and go and seek people who are already in a community who want to travel, who are looking for the same thing you're looking for. I see a lot of websites popping up now with travel companion websites, and whether it be love or not, they're popping up. So it's interesting that you would say you see mostly couples. Because over here it's like solo dolo land. Oh,
Hello, Dolo
completely.
Land.
Oh,
Nice.
absolutely. There are everybody who look at my channel know I love the word gamut. There is a gamut of of oh
You like what you like.
Lord.
It's okay.
A gamut of single black women, all ages. All ages moving here, you know, women my age, Gen X boomers who are getting out of bad relationships, badass relationships, who are ending marriages, boomers who the person is gone on, and now they get to live their life, so they're starting new. Gen X, the kids are gone. Millennials, the kids are gone, are graduating high school very soon in the next few years, and so people are making different types of decisions, and I applaud that in all of us, in all of us. Um, Dr. Maya, on your channel, you have some very inspiring videos. Very. Um, I am a fan of Black women in the motherland. That's one of my favorites. Um, and I also, oh wait, my other favorite before I go to that one, my other favorite was the 12 books to read when traveling. Now I looked at that and I wrote down, I got to go back because I lost the sticky. But I did write down a few that I wanted to explore. And you guys go to her channel and check out her videos because they are very funny and informative. Um, there's one in particular that I want to focus on, which was the 10 tips for anxious Black travelers, because I think that is fear and, of the unknown and fear, just from childhood, all of it, the fear of fear. Um, it destabilizes a lot of Black women. it can stop you. It can immobilize a lot of. They get stuck in their head, and anxiety takes over, and then it's back off of it. I'll deal with it later. The kids are more. Everything else becomes more important. So I would like for you, if you would, to share some tips from that video or some new tips that you have acquired since making it about how Black women travelers can address anxious or anxiety and how to deal with that.
Yeah, of course.
I
So
know it's can be quite scary to get on a plane in a different language and you don't understand nothing. And what if you need help? And I get it.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. So I have tips before you go to when you are en route to when you get on ground. So before you go, getting information, doing as much research as possible. If you know people in your life who have already traveled there, that is really helpful because you can see it from the perspective of someone that might be similar to you, or maybe they're not similar to you, and you can be like, okay, these are not things that I have to worry about. These were concerns for her, but they're not concerns for me. So definitely if you could talk to someone, get into the expat groups and see what they're saying about the place, and read books, know about kind of like the history. You don't have to go all the way back to colonization, but just like knowing some basic things. I always say when people come here, we feel some type of way when they don't know anything about Black Lives Matter and all of the movements and things that Black people have
You're
had to
right.
go through into space. So you should just generally know what the locals are going through, what fights they have to fight, what fight you might want to be a part of, or what fight you can't be a part of because, it's like related to specific identity, but you should just know what's going on. If you're going to live somewhere, you should know
I
something
agree.
about where you're going to go. So
Big
that's
time.
one. When you're on your way to get there, I think having snacks is really helpful, right? If you have like your favorite snacks that calm you down, you had mentioned specifically like that chicken was a thing, you like that Popeye chicken,
Right.
like getting the things that you like before you land there, because you might not be able to eat those things when you get there. And so just putting yourself in like a calming space, you got your nice snacks, you're feeling good before you leave, making sure that the medications that you need, you have stocked them up for when you're going, because it is the worst to have like a flare up, a situation like you already have some medical condition. You get there and it's like going wild and you don't have the things that you need to, or you're trying to run around and figure out where to go to get what you need. So, like a medicine bag, packing what you need. For me, I have motion sickness. So, like making sure that I take the Dramamine, like that's right in the front, because that's going to make you even more anxious if you are like under distress while trying to land.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
too much. Also, you can do whatever your favorite things are in the airport, such as reading a good book, listening to your favorite music. Maybe you have a conversation with someone that is a calming and a safe person for you before you get on the flight. Just something that's going to bring down that anxiety and just make you feel calm and relaxed on your way to get there. Then, when you are in the space, making sure that if you're going solo, you already have maybe like a tour or two set up so that you can be in a group and you feel like you're in community. You already have people that are there. You don't have to like do the thing by yourself. So, some places that you can book these experiences are on Airbnb experiences or on Viator. You can get those ahead of time so that you already have something that's going to connect you to the space. Also, if you get a hotel, that can often feel like more community because, like, you have a front desk you can go to, you have somebody you can talk to at the front desk, you can get information from them. They have trusted taxi services, so you won't have to like flag a taxi down every single time. If you're like in an Airbnb, then that's you by yourself. You got to figure out everything alone. But if you're in a hotel, you already have a bunch of amenities that can be helpful to you. And sometimes those people speak multiple languages so that you don't have to feel like
Absolutely.
you have to like struggle, trying to figure out a particular language. So those are the things that I would say in terms of calming down your anxiety. And since you mentioned my channel and some of the videos that you like, which I appreciate, I just want you all to know that my most recent video I posted is about Trinidad and Tobago, and I specifically talk about my experiences in Carnival since it just occurred this year. So, yeah, if you all are interested in that, you can check that out.
Excited. Yes, I got Maya Carnival in the now, right? Because all your videos are really good. I have not seen that one. I have to look at that one tonight when my day is over and it's quiet. So Trinidad and Tobago video, Tobago, Merida, Tobago, um, video. I'm excited to see that. Carnival was here as well in Merida. I missed it. But I did see some footage online and in Rio de Janeiro, which was absolutely breathtaking. It was amazing. It was amazing. So if you want to share about your experience there before we go to let people know what's to expect in the video about Trinidad and
Yeah.
Tobago and Carnival.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. So that video is going to walk you through my experiences in Carnival day by day. I'm going to let you know every event that I attended. So it's really a video to help people if they're interested in going to Trini for Carnival, like walk you through, let you know what you can prepare for, what you can expect. I have videos, I have pictures, I demonstrate my entire costume to you as well. And I give you advice on things that you should pack to be ready to go.
I'll be looking at that shortly.
Yay.
I'll be
And if
looking
you
at
all
that
have
shortly.
any additional questions, you can leave them in the comment section of my video. I do look at my comments so I can respond to those if you have questions or are interested in going in the future.
Yeah, definitely bridge the gap, guys. Reach out. I want to go, and I know y'all want to go, and I know I want to go more after I saw the video, to see the videos, because I've been looking at it on YouTube with my mouth wide open. Now, Dr. Maya can be followed on her YouTube channel, Fly Like Me, PhD. So please follow her. The link to her YouTube channel is at Fly Like Me PhD on YouTube. The link will be in the description and also in the comment area for those that cannot find a description bio. Sometimes it's an issue. You can also follow her at on Facebook at Maya Angelica. Is that correct? So the
Yes.
link to her profile is in the description in the comment section. And also Dr. Maya is on LinkedIn. So you can send her a message on LinkedIn at Dr. Maya Angelica Williams. Can't read. Angelica Williams on LinkedIn, and as well the description. I'm sorry, the link to that will be in the description and also in the comment area. And if y'all still can't find it, you can email her and email me. You know where I'm at, travelabroad at TiaNiki.com, and I'll send you all her links. Do you have an email or they just contact you directly through social media platforms?
Yeah, you can email me at flylikemephd@gmail.com.
Cool, cool, cool. And I will have all of you should see all of that on the screen, her contact information. Now, before you go, Dr. Maya, and it's been wonderful talking to you. I really enjoy your content. Um, do you want to leave all these beautiful Black women who are tuned in today, of all ages, some inspiring words? I really like the fact that you have extensively, which is more than one or two countries, traveled in Latin America, and you have been able to differentiate the cultures, learn so much about the diversity within the culture. I know from me moving to Merida, what America experience is not culture, and I didn't realize that until I left.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, like we really think rap and it's culture, and I didn't really understand the depth of it until I moved to
Mhm,
Mexico, where they live culture out loud through their
mhm,
actions, through
mhm.
the dynamic of their families and how they're run and how society kind of functions as a whole, how it
Yeah,
operates.
yeah,
It's just everything it should be. It's just like the way it just makes so much sense. It's like smart. I live in a smart country. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
Merida's a smart city.
yeah.
Very able to coexist easily and help one another when necessary. So, as you before you leave us, Dr. Maya, share your favorite place that you've ever visited, um, and what you liked about it, and if you can move today. Two questions: if you can move today, would it be that place or somewhere else that maybe you haven't been yet?
Okay. Yeah, I would say one of my favorite places that I've ever been is probably Thailand. The people in Thailand are just so friendly, so open. I just felt very comfortable and very safe. I was able to ride an elephant, which was really cool. I love Thai food. So it was like an immediate draw. It just made sense for me. And I had a wonderful time. I don't have any complaints. I think Thailand is an incredible space and has so much to offer the world. And yeah, I went with a group of friends. We had a wonderful time there. So I would recommend it if you get a chance to be able to visit there. Now, that would not be the place I will move to. And that's just because, as a Spanish speaker,
Wow.
I did all of that
Okay.
work. So I got to
Okay.
live probably in a Spanish speaking country. The place I would like to move to that I've already lived in, but would like be honored to have a second chance is Colombia. I'm interested in moving to Colombia next year. It has the second largest Afro Latin population in South America. Brazil is number one. And just the Black culture. We're talking about Cartagena, we're talking about Cali, we're talking about Choco. These are different cities within
Yeah.
Colombia. I mean, just such a rich history. The
Mm.
slave port, yeah, was in
Yeah.
Cartagena. That's where the first enslaved people were. And so it's just like
Yeah.
Colombia to me has so much diasporic history, in terms of slavery, in terms of the jubilee and celebration of Blackness, in terms of the culture. You know how you talked about culture, like you can feel that culture of Blackness in terms of the music, in terms of dancing, in terms of food. And so that is where I would love to live next year if I get the opportunity.
Wow. Wow. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be right. The next video will be an update with you in Colombia living your best life. Like, I made it. I made it to you, Niki. I feel like, girl, of course you made it. What you talking about? Of course you did.
That is so sweet of you to say because actually, what I will be doing is kind of starting around the summer. I'm doing a move abroad with me on my channel, and I'm going to walk you all through me moving abroad and all of the things that
Awesome.
go into that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's very important. People see it. And it's something that they can look at a million times. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Yes, yes. So that is wonderful. I look forward to that video series of you doing that. I'll be tuned in. Thank you so much for giving us your time, Dr. Maya,
Thank
today.
you.
I'm sure you inspired a lot of people. Remember to follow Dr. Maya at Fly Like Me PhD on YouTube. Reach out to her on LinkedIn. Connect. Watch her journey through Facebook and Maya Angelica. All the links are below. And we're going to continue to have inspiring stories of women, a reflection of women who have made it to let you know you can do it too. Okay. So, you guys, I'll see you next time. Right? Peace. I want to thank Dr. Maya Williams for joining us on this broadcast. It really meant a lot for her to reach out to me and ask if she could share her experiences. Indeed, this is what it's all about, bridging the gap between that side and this side. Now, Dr. Williams is not residing in Mexico at the present moment. She wants to move to Panama. So send her some good vibes. Follow her on all of her social media. The links are in the description and in the comments section. Support Black content, women content makers who are out here showing you a different life, a different way that you indeed can obtain if you come up with a plan, follow that plan through, and live your dream out loud. We will continue to bring you effective, inspirational interviews from women who have made the change, who have taken the flight to live a better life. Until next time, peace.